Hello, everybody. Welcome to the second interview with graduates of the program through the Academy for Addiction and Mental Health Nutrition. I would like to introduce you to a dear friend of mine, Portia Cirome, who has been working in this field with me in Denver, Colorado now for several years. Welcome, Portia.
Thank you, Christina. It's really nice to be here with you today. This evening.
It is evening. It got there finally.
It did. Yes.
So Portia, why don't you introduce yourself to us, a little bit about what you're doing, who you are,
Sure.
and how you got into using amino acid and nutrient therapy.
Sure. So my name is Portia Cirome, and I am a licensed therapist in the state of Colorado, as well as a certified addictions counselor, and have been for several years. And I had been working in the field of addictions for several years and was recognizing that some of the talk therapy and cognitive therapy was good, but it just wasn't quite enough to address all of the issues that come up with recovery from addiction. And one of the facilities that I worked in, I guess it was probably, maybe 10 years ago now.
It was.
Initially, I was introduced to amino acid therapy, and that was very interesting to me, especially the piece where we really address the biochemistry or the biochemical piece of the addiction as opposed to just the emotional, spiritual. Mm-hmm. And so one of the things that you taught me early on was really looking at recovery like it was a three-legged stool, and we need to address the emotional piece, the spiritual piece, and this biochemical piece that had so long sort of been ignored, forgotten, or maybe we just didn't know about it. Right. So when this third piece was introduced to me in this facility, it really sort of perked my interest, and I really started to hone in on learning a lot more about how I could use that in my own practice. Mm-hmm. And so subsequently from there, I think I continued to practice in different aspects, but always in the field of addictions, and then decided to take the certification class that was offered by the Academy, and at that time was part of the Alliance for Addiction Solutions. Yeah. And you so graciously were my teacher. And it was such an amazing experience, and the more I learned, the more I wanted to learn. So I went through level 1, and started to integrate into my practice, both in outpatient facility as well as my private practice. And then level 2, and the more that I learned, the more I wanted to research on my own. And I think what really helps is putting what you learn into practice and watching it work with clients so beautifully, in addition to using the spiritual and the emotional pieces. Right. Those are never forgotten. No. They just weren't enough.
Yeah, they aren't enough because they're not addressing directly and sufficiently enough the brain.
Correct.
And there's this lovely interaction and interrelationship between our brain and our soul.
And I find that the more clarity the client gets as a result of that sort of neurotransmitter production and detoxification and the digestive process working well, the more they're able to utilize those emotional and spiritual tools.
Yeah, I think they're able to utilize it more because their brain is clear, is functioning better, is more online.
Absolutely.
And they also have less shame.
Excellent point.
Because I think the more we all understand that we ourselves as people are not the sole creators of our symptoms and our misbehavior, if you would have it, right?
Correct.
That there may be something going on in our brain that we didn't choose and we didn't cause. We may have to deal with, we may have to take responsibility for, but we certainly didn't cause it. It helps relieve shame.
Absolutely. And that's a big piece of what I see on a daily basis working with this clientele.
Right.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
And I think the other thing is that I'm all about empowering my clients, giving them the tools they need. I don't want to just say, well, you see, you have a broken brain, bye. good luck with it. It's
Right.
like, you have some issues going on in your brain that you didn't cause, and here's some tools that you can use. You can go to the local vitamin store and buy. You can go to the local grocery store and make wise choices to, pretty much fix your brain yourself.
Absolutely. And I can't agree with you more that, so much of what I do with my clients are really small, basic steps that they can integrate, that anyone can integrate. They become more difficult as time goes along, but I think that those first small steps are easy to integrate and empowering because they work.
Yes.
They work, especially with the food piece, which I'm sure we'll get to.
Precisely. So, Portia, what settings are you using this information in right now in your life and practice?
Right now, I am using it in primarily 2 locations in my own private practice called 80/20 by Design, and I work out of the Lakewood, Colorado area. And secondly, I also work in I consult in a couple of inpatient recovery centers, but primarily I work out of the Raleigh House of Hope, which is in Denver, Arvada area, and now is also opening a beautiful inpatient facility in Watkins, Colorado. And
out in the country.
Out in the country, yes. Yeah. And it's going to be a beautiful facility. It's opening soon. It hasn't opened yet, but we are up and running and have been for, maybe 9 years now. The Raleigh House of Hope has been up and running and growing each year. But we have a really nice program that integrates the nutrition therapy and pro-recovery nutrition as well as supplementation to support the biochemical repair. And my role at the Raleigh House is to teach and educate the clients. So each week I facilitate a nutrition therapy group. And in addition to that, I hold consultations with not every client, but many of the clients, especially the more complex clients, where we talk about the supplements and the nutrition, specifically the foods that are going to be most beneficial to them to help with biochemical repair and clarity and content, happiness, being okay with where they are in life. And the clients really dig it. They do. They really find a lot of benefit to integrating the supplement protocols that we have created, as well as the nutrition that we offer. Raleigh House has a chef that cooks breakfast, lunch, and dinner, and many of the snacks that is very online with pro-recovery nutrition that you teach, that Patty teaches, that many of us who've gone through the program know very well.
Right, yeah.
And so they're very lucky in that respect that they have their meals created for them, and we eliminate things that would be problematic, like gluten, like milk, like refined sugars and processed foods. So they really get a nice, they have the chance to try that out, try that way of eating out while they're there, because that's their option. That's really their only option.
Well, that's lovely that you don't have bowls of candy around like I've seen in some other treatment programs.
No bowls of candy, bowls of oranges, bowls of cheese sticks, bowls of nuts, but no bowls of candy. Yeah. And they get used to it, and the clients do really well. And I see a big change, especially in that first 30 days, because of the fact that we offer that pro-recovery nutrition and a very definitive supplement program based on their symptoms, but also in the medical issues that they come in with. But we have a pretty basic program for the first 30 days, because so many of the clients, as you well know, when they first come in, are so deficient in so many of the basic nutrients and the amino acids. So we really try and re-up that area.
Can you share with us some elements in the basic nutrient protocol?
Sure. So in addition to, how do we create this for each client, and how do we make sure that we're being safe when we're giving them the supplements? We use Julia Ross's amino acid therapy chart. We take a history, a symptom history, and a medical history. And there's a medical doctor that does the medical history and deals with all their pharmaceuticals that they're on when they come in. But I implement the nutrition therapy chart so that we see where their symptomology is. But basically what we're giving to the clients when they first come in is a very definitive gut repair program, because I find that maybe 90% of the clients that come in have a pretty ravaged gut. So we have to help them to repair, take out the bad stuff, put in the good stuff to help them repair the gut so that they can get the benefits of the nutrients that they're taking in.
Sure.
So, we use some herbs that will help with gut repair. We use L-glutamine, we use aloe, we give them a good probiotic and digestive enzymes, and occasionally hydrochloric acid if they need it. Then in addition to that, in order for them to begin that biochemical repair, that neurotransmitter production that has been so depleted as a result of their drug use and their nutritional deficits while they're using.
Sure.
We laugh and say that the nutritional aspects of a using addict usually is like a Mountain Dew and a chew, or a cigarette and a Coca-Cola, which is very deficient. But we give them, go ahead.
No, very deficient. I agree. And I actually believe the Mountain Dew itself is a drug all in its own category.
Absolutely. And that's a whole nother interview, right? So we give them, the basic vitamins and minerals that they're going to need. For example, magnesium, methylated vitamin B complex, vitamin C, vitamin D. And that is coming as single nutrients right now, but we're also ready to integrate a good multivitamin. And it's actually the multivitamin that we use in their aftercare protocol.
Oh, great.
And in addition to that, we have some specific amino acid supplements that are precursors to the dopamine, to the serotonin, GABA, and endorphins that they deplete. And so we use DPA, we use theanine, we use taurine, we use L-tryptophan, etc. And then in addition to the vitamins and minerals and the amino acids that we use, we also will add in milk thistle for a liver detox, and occasionally valerian and melatonin for help with sleep. So those are some of the basic ones we use. I didn't give you everything, but some of the basic ones that we use initially in the first 30 days.
Sure, that's exciting. And what do you notice? How do your clients respond to that? What difference do you think it makes to them in early recovery?
Yeah, I think in the combination, Christina, of the pro-recovery foods, the pro-recovery diet, and those supplements is really the key in clients starting to feel better more quickly and to heal their gut problems more quickly. And also looking at, as I said before, the foods that we take out. They don't get refined sugar, they don't get milk, they don't get gluten, they don't get the processed foods which continue to
create inflammation.
The gut and create inflammation, right?
Yeah.
So it's really the combination of those three aspects that enable the client to start to feel better more quickly. And I would say a good 80% of our clients notice right away, and within the first 2 weeks, a big difference. And they want to take their supplements. They want to eat the pro-recovery foods because they're starting to feel a whole lot better. They're not having the symptomology that they had in the past when they tried to quit without the pro-recovery foods and the amino acid and vitamin supplements.
Well, and I'm sure you have a lot of sort of chronic relapsers who've gone through non-nutritionally based programs and then have ended up at the Raleigh House and notice how much more quickly their brains are online and they can actually engage in the therapeutic part of the process as compared to other treatment programs.
Yeah, absolutely. Absolutely. We talk about that a lot in the nutrition therapy group that I facilitate. and in the consultations. And in addition to that, I even see the clients that have come to our program and have chosen not to follow the pro-recovery diet protocol and supplements come back and say, wow, I think this time I need to follow the biochemical piece of the protocol because I think that was missing, and that might be one of the reasons that I went back out and relapsed so quickly. Not all the time, but many times we talk about that. But absolutely, they come in from other programs and they're sort of flabbergasted by the specific foods that we use and don't use and don't integrate for those reasons that we talked about. And there's definitely some pushback. The clients don't like that we don't give milk and sugar, but they learn to deal with it.
They learn to deal with it.
Yeah.
And then they leave and they take some of what you've taught them and they lose some of what you taught them and
correct.
Have to figure out how to integrate it into their own lifestyle.
Absolutely. And that's a big piece, is really learning how to integrate it into their lifestyle out in the community. And that's the part of the program that I'm trying to grow a little bit more at Raleigh House. Because I think it gets tough when you get out there and you have so many things that have built up on your plate, and food kind of sometimes goes to the back burner.
Yeah.
But they realize that it can't. And the ones that I keep in contact with that have continued the protocol, whether it be the supplements and the pro-recovery foods, they're thriving.
That's wonderful.
Yeah. It's so exciting for me because I see them in a happy place in their lives. It's really a neat thing. And that. That.
I mean, that's why we do what we do, don't we, Portia?
Absolutely. Yeah. Absolutely. It's very exciting.
Could you speak a little bit to how, what you see in your opiate addicts who are in the detoxification process, who are in withdrawal? And are you guys using a combination of Suboxone and diphenylalanine and other supplements, or what are you seeing?
So we do have a fairly large percentage of our people that come in with opiate addictions. So their protocol tends to be a little different depending on their history. I do have some clients, there are some clients at the Raleigh House that have been put on Suboxone prior to coming in and or while they're there by the MD. But many who are not, who just use our supplement protocol, which does include the DPA. We do not use DLPA just because it's a little overstimulating for some of our clients. We have a lot of sort of hyperenergetic clients, a lot of anxiety.
Well, and you don't want to use any dopamine or norepinephrine support in early opiate detox anyway, because a lot of the symptoms from opiate detox are due to too much norepinephrine anyway.
Correct.
So that's why, at least in my experience, we use the diphenylalanine initially to support the endorphin system and reduce withdrawal symptoms. And then you bring in the tyrosine or the L-phenylalanine afterwards to deal with the extreme fatigue that post-acute opiate withdrawal people experience so severely.
Yeah, absolutely. So we find that the combination of, especially the combination of the serotonin boosting, the L-tryptophan and the DPA and the magnesium and the B vitamins and the fish oil, vitamin D, those are sort of the basic supplements for the opiate addict. But we talked about some of the other things that they also get.
Right, like the Serophos and the theanine for the insomnia.
Right.
Yes, I just love that little protocol that you developed for detoxing opiate addicts who have insomnia.
Yeah, it is nice. But the other piece, and I know that you know this, but is that I really encourage lots of small protein-rich meals and snacks throughout the day, because as you know, we need a lot of those non-essential amino acids when we're trying to recreate or to create our endorphins. They take a little bit longer than some of the other neurotransmitters to approach or to fix the deficit.
To fix the deficit, yes, because you have to build the underlying protein from which the endorphins come.
Yeah. So that protocol, in addition to the protein-rich foods, and we stress, the good fats like the avocado and the olive oil and the coconut oil and the nuts and seeds, and the eggs, really to bridge the gap between, not enough supplements. Eventually, in their aftercare protocol, they do also take a supplement called Total Amino Solution, which is wonderful. We just don't give that to them right away. But that seems to really be a favorite of the opiate addicts in the aftercare piece.
That's lovely, and I'm so happy to hear that you're using nutrients to support people in aftercare as well.
Oh, absolutely. It's really a no-brainer and critical to their care, especially because we have a lot of people that will stay 30 or 45 days. And as you know, that's just not long enough to repair the biochemistry. So we strongly encourage the people that are leaving and going out on their own to continue with our aftercare protocol, which is, proprietary protocol. And then also the people that do stay in our program after 45 days will automatically get that aftercare protocol. And I will tell you that, just to go back to the Suboxone piece, many of the people, when they're at Raleigh House, choose to detox or to titrate off of their Suboxone, and we can do that with a similar protocol as well. So that's been kind of nice to be able to help them get off the Suboxone prior to leaving, so they don't have to do that all on their own. Because Suboxone, as you know, is just as hard to get off of.
Exactly. There's a place for it, but I think the place is very small and very short.
I would agree.
Once you're supporting the brain with these amino acids and with the food, people can actually then come off the Suboxone itself when they haven't been on it for very long, problem-free.
Correct.
Because their brain is being supported in other ways.
Correct.
Yeah.
And but I want to put this in because I think this is such a critical piece. When you are in early recovery, especially as an opiate addict, it is so critical to take those sort of endogenous or exogenous forms of opiates out of your diet, like the milk,
right?
Casomorphine from the milk, and even gluten, because of the gluten.
Gluteomorphins.
Gluteomorphine. Sorry. Yes. But those two pieces have really made a big difference in terms of taking them out, and we try and minimize the other dairy forms of dairy just because of that same aspect. But
right.
We haven't.
Well, likewise, sugar. So people
sugar.
Sugar fires your opiate receptors too. And
correct.
People just switch addictions from whatever to sugar.
Yes.
And then they walk out still addicted to a substance.
Right. And I don't want to see them do that. So we really push back a lot when they, are craving sugar, and we give them things that will help with those cravings, but natural substances, but we don't.
Like glutamine.
Right. But we don't offer those foods at Raleigh House.
Well, wonderful. Congratulations.
Yeah.
Yeah. You're doing a wonderful job there.
Yeah. And just to transition into, how is that program different from the clients that I see in my private practice? So I don't have, in my private practice, they're not contained.
Right.
I don't have complete control over their diet. Gail, who is the chef at Raleigh House, and I speak every week about, what they're eating and what's going into their mouth and what foods we're bringing in. And I certainly don't have that ability with the clients in my private practice. But as you know, the clients in private practice come in because they want to be there. So there is that piece. And what I notice is that small basic changes, for example, eating, in the morning, which many of my clients initially did not do, minimizing sugar, getting those protein snacks in during the day really minimizes whatever symptoms they come in with, whether they're digestive symptoms, mental health symptoms, or symptoms as a result of drug and alcohol use.
Sure.
So I feel like the work that I do with clients in my private practice is very basic, nutritionally or nutrition therapy wise, but it's powerful.
I was about to say, I've seen it be very life-changing.
Correct.
Right.
Yeah, and I know that you do similar work with your clients, but the just those small integrations of the changing the food piece of it can sometimes be enough.
Yeah.
And then we at times will add certain aminos. I'm a big advocate of magnesium. I think magnesium is a wonderful mineral, and it works for so many different symptom issues. And especially women, we just don't get enough magnesium, but most people don't get enough magnesium. It's so devoid or deficient in our foods these days, and people just don't take it. So magnesium works. That's a really nice supplement. And then the B complex is another nice one that I think people feel comfortable in my experience in private practice integrating into their protocols. If many of them come in already doing a multivitamin or omega-3 or a probiotic, because those are non-negotiables as far as I'm concerned. And if they don't, then we talk about why they're non-negotiables.
Or raise the dose of the fish oil from 1 capsule a day to more.
That's a very good point. That is a very good point. Right.
Yeah.
Right.
Yeah. Sometimes people are taking what they need, but not near enough the dosage of what they need.
Yeah. And you know, and to that respect, it's always a little touch and go. You need to really understand the history of the person, because you know, some people do really well on larger doses, sort of the typical dose, and then other people are so hypersensitive that they don't do well. So
but they need the fingertip.
Yes. So I tend to be a little bit more subtle in beginning the supplements, and I really am a pro recovery diet pusher. Because I think once we get that in place, we start to feel a whole lot better more quickly. And there's just so many clients that I see that aren't doing that. Not even close.
I know. It's so sad.
Food is much more accessible and comfortable to people. And so if we can make those small tweaks in the food, I see so much, the clients see much more success.
I would agree.
Yeah.
Portia, it's been lovely chatting with you about all of this.
I've loved speaking with you as well. So thank you for thinking of me.
Well, you're welcome, and you're one of the people who've gone through the program and who I've sort of been supporting the training of through the years, who's really taken all of this and just run with it in really amazing ways.
I want to say to that respect that the program, the academy, and the learning that I did there, and the education that I got was irreplaceable. I don't know another place where I could have gotten the amount of learning specifically because of you. So I say this for the people listening, that if you're even thinking about it, and this is not a plug, this is my true feelings coming out. It's been life-changing for me to take the information from Christina and use it with myself, but also with my clients. It's just such a nice source of information and education. So thank you for that.
Well, you're very welcome.
To support me over the years, because that's another nice piece of the program, is that I feel supported by my teacher and mentor. So thank you.
Excellent.
Yeah.
Well, have a lovely rest of your day.